Ooh, ooh, wow. For the next few weeks, I was more stressed than a causeway on Tomcat Island. It felt like the day of my flight would never arrive, but if finally did. I hopped in a taxi and left for the airport in plenty of time. I could hardly believe it was happening at last. I was going on vacation, a real vacation, and I was flying first class for free. I headed for the check-in counter of the airline. I was flying mouse chair, a plush red carpet lead to first class check-in. I stepped onto it nervously. Oh, it felt so soft when my palms. I scampered up to the counter like a very important rodent. Mice in line for the economy check-in counter started at me curiously and whispered, "Check out that mouse. He must be a very important rodent, isn't that? He's flying first class." The pretty mouse at the counter took my passport with a smile. She typed my name into the computer and started at the screen. She glanced at me and then began banging at the keyboard, a perplexed expression on her sound. After another moment, she squared, "Mr. Sutherland, there is nothing booked in your name. That's impossible. I booked my flight with the Wonder Rat." She nodded. "Yes, but your ticket was cancelled. I'm sorry." I stepped away from the counter and pulled out my cell phone to call Mr. Sweetpaws. That when the pretty mouse called me. "Citizen, please wait a moment. Someone booked another ticket for you with dirt check. Cheap airline. Here it is." I took the ticket. It was made of a tattered piece of tissue. I moved slowly far away from the VIR window. I was totally mortified. I could hear all the mice around me whispering, "Isn't that he's flying with a direct cheap airline? What a stinking mouse! Wow, have no!" Dragging my suitcase behind me, I scrambled to catch my flight. As I scampered along panting, I wondered who had cancelled my first class ticket. Who? Second story is a garbage can with wings. I boarded the plane and baggaged myself next to a pump rodent wearing a cowboy hat pulled down over his eyes. I settled in and tried to calm down. Once I got to the Black Hills, I would be able to enjoy my relaxing vacation. No sooner had I finished the thought than the plane began to make a terrifying noise. I gulped and looked around. The airplane was in a state of total disappear. The seat cover were torn and the springs and popped out of the cushions. The food tray wouldn't open and the window were filthy. On top of all that, there was no life jacket under the seat. Instead, there was an empty box that said you wanted to save a buck. Well, too bad for you. In case of emergency, you are on your own. I checked to see if there were any paper bag in case I started to get an upset tummy. Naturally, there wasn't a single one. Instead, there was a note. You wanted to save a book. Too bad for you. In case of motion sickness, you are on your own. That wasn't a plane. It was a garbage. I looked up and saw the flight attendant scowling at me. You weren't about to complain, were you? She growled. No, everything is just swell, stammered. The another passenger didn't seem to notice the plane's shoddy condition or the terrible sound coming from the engine. They were all snoozing. Unbelievable. The plane was spinning along, about to take off. I gulped and grabbed the armrets. One of them broke off in my paw. This was going to be a long flight. Holy cheese, I was right about that. As soon as we were in the air, the rodent next to me too took off his hat and shouted, "Surprise! It was my cousin Trap." That was the signal to the other six passengers to squinking surprise. It was my sister Tia, my friend Putina, pretty palms, her niece Buckes, my nephew Benjamin, my good friend Bruce, Hina, and my grandfather William stopped. I took at them. What are you doing here? Trap laughed. smugly. Hey, dear mister, how do you like our little surprise? It is all my doing. When I heard you were leaving for a relaxing vacation all by your lonesome, I cancelled your ticket and booked a flight for all of us on your dime, of course. Aren't you excited, Counting? Then he loved his swing. This relaxation is just a ruse. You see, you and I have a top secret mission. We are going to look for treasure in the Black Hill. But don't squeak a word to anyone about it. ओके गाइस, तो आज के लिए इतना काफ़ी है स्टोरी टेलिंग. गुड नाइट एवरीवन.